There's a very real possibility that some of your memories never happened.
Let's talk about that. Good mythical morning.
Okay, now you probably already know that memory is malleable, or memories are malleable. We talked about it on a previous GMM, one of these past seasons.
Sure, yeah, you can remember, you can recall a memory and just change a few things about it.
Well, every single time.
They tend to change.
Every time you access a memory, every time you go back and remember something, you re-remember it, and it changes a little bit. And over time...
Builds the memory in a new place in your brain.
Yeah, and the details just change, and you fill in gaps and that kind of thing.
I remember that.
So we already know that, if you've been watching GMM. But do you now know that researchers at MIT have figured out how to implant false memories into the brains of mice?
See, okay, first of all, so this whole mice thing, let's start with that.
Okay.
Okay. It annoys me when, you get all excited about this new findings. Oh, you can implant memories. And then why do I care what a mice believes happened in the past?
Well, they start with the mice because people are like, okay, it's okay to hook up this thing to a mouse's brain, but we can't hook it up to Link's brain. I mean, we would like to, but he probably wouldn't be okay with that.
As long as the memories are good that they're going to implant, just go for it.
Well, then you should have signed up for this, and we wouldn't be talking about mice. We'd be talking about you, and you'd be famous.
Would I be rich?
No.
Then I'm not going to do it.
All right. Researchers at MIT have found a way to insert false memories in the brains of mice. Sorry to disappoint you, but yes, we're talking about mice.
Why not elephants?
Because it's ethics, man. Because mice seem more like it's destructible. I mean, I don't want to get into why. Okay. I didn't do it. I'm just telling you.
Elephants have great memories.
Yeah, right. And the brains are bigger. Okay, so what they did is they found out a way to, when a mouse accesses a memory, they can isolate the neurons that fire at that point in the brain. And then they said, okay, what we can do is we can create a memory, like we can send a mouse into a room and we can like give it some electric shocks in this red room. And so it will develop these negative connotations about the negative memory about this red room. But then we're gonna isolate those neurons, and then we can, using fiber optic cable, this is the part that would get a little bit weird with your brain. They take fiber optic cable and they run it into the brain and they fire those neurons, which makes the mouse remember the electric shocks. And so you could put him in any room, like a blue room, and you could fire the thing, and all of a sudden he gets scared of the blue room like he's been there before and he's been shocked before. Basically make him access that memory.
They are literally triggering a memory.
A memory.
Using fiber optic cables.
Yeah. So if I were to hook you up to this, I could
amazing.
be like, hey Link, you remember your dog Tucker? Because you do remember your dog Tucker, right?
I do.
Great dog, pointed head. Very small pointy head for a dog that size.
Great coat.
Disproportionate in a lot of ways. But
let's
great
focus
dog.
On his coat. He had a great coat.
Okay, you remember him however you want to. Let's just say, go ahead.
You want me to remember him now?
Yeah, and I'll act like I'm hooked up to your brain.
He had he was a nice brown coat that turned to white, and it was kind of like ombre before that was in. Kind of like that shirt of yours, I think, right here.
Yep, ombre.
It would change colors down there, and it would become something different. He was so loyal.
Okay, so now you've remembered Tucker, and I know exactly which neurons fired when you remembered Tucker. Now, what if we went to Pizza Hut together? Nobody really goes inside Pizza Hut and sits down and eat pizza anymore. But let's just say that we did. And I was like, we were sitting there eating a deep dish pizza, and then I'm like,
jukebox. They had a jukebox at the Pizza Hut.
No. Remember Tucker.
Oh, because I remember. You remember the jukebox at Pizza Hut?
I do, but that's not what we're doing now.
So we're in a Pizza Hut, but I'm remembering my dog?
Yep.
He had a great coat. It was ombre.
So what would you begin to think? You might begin to think that Tucker lives at Pizza Hut. You might begin to think that the last place I saw Tucker was in a Pizza Hut. I don't know how it would all work into your brain, but the fact is that I could get you to re-access that memory.
Remember, do it again. So it would be like, oh, man, this pizza is great. I remember dining here with my dog Tucker.
Yeah, there you go.
Who had a great coat, and he loved deep dish pizza, and he would always play Leonard Skinner on the jukebox.
Bingo. Now you understand where this research is going.
I fully understand it, yes.
Now there's another way that they've been able to implant memories that's not so scientific and doesn't involve the fiber optic cables and just demonstrates how malleable your memory is. It's called the Lost in the Mall study. And what they did is they got people's family members to tell a few stories about a person. 3 different stories that were true, and then there was a 4th story that was about them being lost in the mall when they were 5 years old and being rescued by this elderly woman after having been lost for a few hours. And they described the elderly woman and all this. And they put those 4 stories down onto, a sheet of paper or whatever, and they told this person, these are 4 events that your family members have relayed to us about your childhood. Tell us everything you know about these 4 events. They had no idea that this was a memory experiment, otherwise that would screw it up. And they all, 25% of the participants thought that the thing about being lost with the elderly woman had happened. In other words, they implanted that memory just because they created a context that kind of made sense. Your relatives are telling these stories. So it just shows you, and these people just swear that, this is definitely true. They gave details about this woman. They added to the details of it because that's how people's brains work, at least 1 out of 4 people.
Now, if I was doing that, I would think that it would be like the Jimmy Kimmel thing where he goes out on the street or he sends someone out on the street and says, what do you think about the Oscars last night? And the Oscars hadn't happened yet. They're happening a few nights later, and people just start remembering things that don't happen. They're lying about the Oscars.
Because you don't want to be an idiot for not remembering this thing that your mom talked to you about.
On television.
Or said something about.
So yeah, I that sounds suspicious to me.
Okay, well, how about this? They also found...
But I do remember getting lost at the mall, and I do remember that woman.
Maybe everyone has a memory
that's
of that.
happened to everyone.
Okay, how about this? They also found that they could show a picture to someone of a doctored photo of a hot air balloon that they took as a child, and they would remember details. And 50% of the people in this study thought that they had been on that hot air balloon ride.
Because they seeing is believing.
And I really relate to this because I think about I go back and I look at the pictures at my mom's house, like in the old picture albums, and sometimes I think, am I really remembering that trip to the Grand Canyon, or am I just remembering the picture? So, to close things out, I want to experiment with you. I've got a picture of you. You remember this.
Let's experiment with each other.
You remember that time you and the Turtle Girls won that contest at the state fair? You remember that?
Yeah, I remember my head was really small.
Yeah, you were real happy, and you had a knife on your belt. You remember you and the Turtle Girls, you know?
That's right.
And your dog. Right. It was 4th of July. You see the red, white, and blue banners down there?
I remember slaughtering the turtle with my knife, sheathing it, and then celebrating, and me and my dog walking in front of the Turtle Girls, and they were just all like, oh, I want to date you because you can slaughter a turtle. That's what happened, right?
Yep. Yeah. I was
hated. And that there was a big bald guy who would always follow me around. He had a black T-shirt and blue workout pants.
And he was eating corn or something.
Yeah, it was his turtle, and he was pretty ticked off about it. And I remember him coming up and ambushing me, and all the Turtle Girls went to Pizza Hut with him. And I just went home, and me and Tucker just hung out.
You see how easy it is to just make memories, man?
What? That didn't really happen?
No, it was just a picture. I just tricked you.
My head was small back then, though.
It's science.
My head was disproportionately... I don't know if I had an issue, if I should have seen a doctor. You know what time it is.
Hi, I'm Andrea, and this is Annabelle. We are from Cornwall, England, and it's time to spin the wheel of medicalities.
Okay, if you want to play tricks on your relatives, just take a picture and Photoshop it and tell them about it and say, hey, you remember that time with us and the Turtle Girls?
Don't do that to your older family members, because that's cruel.
Rhett got a gig on another morning show. Hey, listen, this has been real fun and everything.
Yeah, this was fun. I enjoyed learning some things today, Rhett.
Holistically, this experience, me and you doing this show together, but I got some weird / negative news to break to you.
Okay.
I'm doing this other morning show starting next week. It's called Rhett and the Turtle Girls.
Okay, and where is this?
It's at the State Fair.
And do I... You got a little bit of a mullet thing going here.
I'm bringing it back, man.
Can you see that?
Cut it in a way that doesn't screw it up. It feels like you're cutting a lot.